I realized something about my childhood much later in life. I wasn't raised to feel safe. I noticed that I was raised to be strong. And when I say I was raised strong, not safe, I'm talking about something that quietly shapes the nervous system for years. Because being raised to survive teaches your body very, very different lessons than being raised to feel safe. It teaches you to stay alert. It teaches you to push through. And it also teaches you that being a strong one is your role, even when you're exhausted. So if you've ever been the responsible one, the calm one, and the one everybody leans on, you might understand exactly what I mean today. Because many of you may not know this, but I grew up in Kenya, and in many African households, strength is not optional. It's actually expected. And you adapt, you handle things, push forward. And I'm finding that by the time I left home at 18 years old and moved to the United States in 1995, that identity was already deeply, deeply wired in me. I was the strong one. I was the one who figures things out. And honestly, I feel like that strength has helped me survive a lot because I've built a life here in the US. I became a registered nurse. I've spent almost actually 30 years this past year working in healthcare. And I've been married 15 years this year. And my husband and I have built businesses. So from the outside, that looks like success. But the nervous system remembers how you learned to survive. And here's the strange part. Strength can look like confidence, but inside our body, it can actually feel like vigilance. So I remember a moment years, many, many years ago, after a long shift as a nurse, right? Nothing dramatic happened, that day during my shift. There were no emergencies, no chaos. But when I sat down in my car, my shoulders felt tight. My jaw was clenched. And that evening, my whole body felt like it was bracing for something, even though there was nothing wrong. And that's when something clicked for me. My nervous system didn't know how to relax because strength had been the training, but safety had never been the lesson. So tell me this, tell me if this sounds familiar to you. Are you the person people rely on? The one who the one who stays calm when everyone else is so overwhelmed? And this one, the one who handles things. You handle everything. Because a lot of people who grew up being the strong one, they carry that identity everywhere. And I find that that identity is carried into friendships, into work, into relationships. And the interesting thing is that people praise you for it. They might say things like this, right? I'll give you an example. They might say, "Oh, you're so strong. You always handle things so well." But what they don't see is what your body is doing. So I'll share this with you. After 30 years in nursing, I've learned something very, very fascinating about human behavior. And it's interesting because I don't know if you know or have noticed this, your body always tells the truth. If you're a very intuitive person or if you're very in tune with your body, Someone can tell you they're fine, but you can tell by their body language, right? You can tell by their shoulders being tight, shallow breathing, and their nervous system is on alert. And I have realized that many of us who were raised to be strong learned something very, very early, very young, at a very young age, that our value comes from handling things and not, interestingly, not from feeling safe. So, but here's the part that I didn't expect. So, being strong, that can actually make it harder for you to recognize when you're not okay. And and I have found that it's because you have trained yourself to just keep going. You just never stop. And for me, I'll use an example of myself. I see this pattern everywhere now. Like I am so, once you see it, you can't unsee it. Like for me, especially at work, in patients, in my friends, and in my colleagues. Because so in people who are incredibly capable, but whose bodies never fully relax, that's where I notice that pattern. And it's not because those people are weak, but because they were trained to survive. And what I'm also learning is that survival and safety are two completely different nervous system states. Isn't that crazy? That is so, so wild. So, one thing I've started practicing lately is something very simple. And what I do, I'll give you an example, is instead of me asking myself, am I handling everything? This is what I've changed my mindset. I start asking, what is my body doing right now? Are my shoulders tight? How's my breathing? Is my breathing shallow? Is my jaw clenched or am I relaxed? Because you'll notice that, and if you pay attention, you're going to see that your body usually knows the truth before your brain catches up or before your mind catches up, right? It's it's so crazy because some of these patterns, once you see them, like you can't unsee them. You just have to be very, very intuitive and very in tune with yourself and in your body. And I'm also curious about something. If someone described you as the strong one in your family or in your friend group, does that feel like a compliment to you, or does it feel more like a role you never got to step out of? I want you to share with me in the comments because I think the more conversations I have about these kinds of topics, the more I realize that a lot of us learned how to be strong long, way long ago, before we even learned how to feel safe. So I think I'm starting to realize that being strong, being called the strong one is sometimes it's really not a compliment. It's not because we just these conversations, are helping me see that this pattern started when when little Sly was like, I don't know, 8 years old, 10 years old. And I'm sure, I want to bet that you probably learned how to be strong long before you also learned how to be safe. So, and if this is the kind of conversation that you wish more people were having, this channel is basically that. And you're welcome to hang in the comments because what I've been exploring is I've been exploring things like nervous system patterns, friendships, boundaries, and what it's like being a highly sensitive person trying to navigate real life. So if you're in the mood for a little YouTube rabbit hole today, I put together a playlist of a lot of videos. I think I have over 50 videos that I've recorded with you in mind to watch as you walk your dog, you cook, clean, even on your drive, or just in the house, just, whatever, working out. You might find something in there that feels like it was pulled straight from your own journal, or like, oh, Sly, you're reading my mind, huh? I'll link the playlist in the description below. And if this resonated, I want you to tell me in the comments, what message did you grow up hearing about strength? I'd really love to learn from your experience too, because I created this channel because I know what it's like to look strong and still not feel safe in your own body. I wanted a space where we could talk about these topics honestly and also feel emotionally safe to open up and share. I'm learning that because we all heal in small doses, it helps to just go back, watch the video find the video that resonates with you, and let me know in the comments. Just share. I also want to learn with you. And for those of you who don't know, my name is Sly, and if this is the kind of conversation you wish more people were having, I believe you will feel very much at home here. Always remember you're doing better than you think, and I'll see you in the next one.